So brothers, I can't believe no one has done this yet. It's kind of an obvious one, but I ain't complaining because that means I get to be first on the scene. So prepare for a never before seen coziness in the clubhouse special. It's beating Kingdom Rush 1 the original edition on half cash mode, goddammit. Setting this up was pretty simple. I yanked out the impossible mod with rebalanced towers, went to the enemy list and halved all of their bounty, always rounded down. I also made sure to have the gold multiplier for calling waves early. Now Dum Dum over here also wanted to have the starting bounty, but I couldn't access it. And this was probably for the best. I left the rebalanced towers in, since I figured this would make it harder and more fun. However, I did want to revert all the changes to the heroes, but after painstakingly trying to swap out the massive amount of code and getting a blue screen deflecting the problem and blaming Berlin, I gave up on that plan and settled for copying Malik's code, because let's face it, I'm gonna use him for 60% of the game anyway, so why not consecrate the marriage and bring him along for the full honeymoon. Now let me be clear, this is going to get hard, so I will probably have to unleash some sin here and there and use the Chunksters or the cool Catalora when shit hits the fan. But I have decided to balance it out a little and allow myself 2 lives leeway whenever I use the almighty Hammer Shaker himself. So after channeling my inner McDonald's employee, I booted the game up and contemplated impossible mode. Oh no, it's locked. Well, my hands are kinda tied here. Nothing I can do about that. We're gonna go very run. Our story begins at Southport. Many a times I've done the Macarena in one of those taverns there. If you've never been to the greatest province of Lineria, you ain't living right in my book. But I wasn't here for sightseeing. It was straight to the outskirts to partake in some good old racism and street violence. As to be expected, money was a bit tight, but there was still plenty left over for a wench or two in one of those taverns I was speaking of earlier. But before I double back, we have to visit the actual outskirts. Apparently, it didn't occur to me to change my usual strategy, so I just committed while being at the edge of my seat, thinking it wasn't going to work out. But it does, and relief washes over me in an awesome wave. Now I have to admit that the wimification got the better of me here. What was I thinking investing in archers? I can't even place enough of them for that to even work. Double artillery and barracks, goddammit. Alright, fun is over. It's time for the infamous difficulty spike. You already know I'm gonna be stuck on this one. And let me tell you, it was almost as if this mode existed to buff the bandits. These bald-headed pricks were getting bonked by my meteors every time they set foot in the arena, I assure you. As if I didn't learn my lesson already, I tried playing around a central archer. But artillery is really where you get the most bang for the buck. Literally. It may be risky, but only if you don't know what you're doing, and I do. All I need is to apply some optimal spell usage to get around the Bandit Wolf combo at the Ogre DP right after.
Not one dick in that asshole, 2 dicks in that asshole at the same time. That's for the 12-year-olds that don't know what DP means, goddammit. And I'm not into that.
Can I get a Vadossi in the comments for this D moment? And a little pat on the back for this one as well? That would be nice. Anyway, after a good 40 rough and tough minutes, I packed the bags and moved on. Never before have I gotten a boner so hard from unlocking the hideout. And on top of this, the Silver Nymphs gotta have asses like onions, because they make me wanna cry. Seeing this cost efficiency unfolding on screen was never appreciated more than on that day. I was a bit uneasy about the Citadel, since it's pretty awkward to establish a choke point in the back of this one. But it seemed to work, which was good, because I was fully expecting to deal with the spawner auras that was put into impossible mode. But all I got was leftovers, so I don't know what happened there, but I ain't complaining. Just get lost, toolbox. Now, out of all of the levels in Kingdom Rush, this is one of them, so yeah. Hammer time. As is tradition around here, I lost to a goddamn gargoyle. Some say it's because I used Big Bertha on this level, but like, come on, when is a better time to use it? It's for damn sure too late in the game to change course now. It nearly cost me the victory on my second attempt, but I made it still, so ultimately I learned nothing. Now, if you're in the know and not some out of the loop homie who thinks the arcane wizard is Bruce Lee, you will know that this tower is going to butter my bread from here on out. It costs 45 extra gold, plus the polymorph is another 75 on top, but still, it sends the purple panty wearing wizard home on a stretcher. Surprisingly, the rocket riders were actually quite hard to deal with, since I opted for Rain of Fire in case the spawner aura was live and active, and I really can't be spending my money on dumb shit like anti-air defense. Like, who needs that? But alas, I will get the obligatory musketeer if it has to be so. Apparently, the landlord in these parts got a whiff of my arrival in the north and decided to do a meet and greet, and it was here where my worst fears became real. The spawner aura was working on this one. At first, I was in denial. My deluded young mug actually thought I could wiggle this one, and let's face it, there was no way in hell this would be possible. Even if I focused on stall, the Yetis would just run me down. I simply don't have enough gold to spend, so I dived headfirst into the code, and after much looking, shame and confusion, I found the forbidden scriptures. After having already played this one a few times, it turned into a cakewalk, and it was now free.
Lord have mercy, I'm about to bust.
Completely oblivious to the powers that be, I was out here thinking that this one would be a one and done. But I had forgotten that this was now a thing I had to deal with. But surprisingly, this wasn't what made the inevitable restart. It was something as mundane as a simple demon spawn. Can we just appreciate Malik giving his life for the cause? He's just that fabulous. Reminded about the tomfoolery included in the reducible mode, I was quite worried about having to deal with a magma mongoloid every minute. But without that high armor which they have on that mode, they just feel like they're made out of butter. It was a bit spicy, I will give you that, but I was in and out real quick. Now I didn't think I had to open this can of worms so soon, but here we are. As if it wasn't enough that I had to deal with the graveyard bringing the house on me, that was also done some under the table fumbling with the numbers. I was getting demon lore served up for breakfast, lunch and dinner, which also meant even more mongoloids to the pile. However, you do get bounty for portal and graveyard spawns, so for the first time in this run, I was swimming in money. Well, I still had this to work with than playing this level vanilla, but it was something, goddammit. So after discovering that Wisdom became based, I dismantled his plans to impose taxes on Illyria, lost alive and won the battle. Wait, what did I just say? Oh, goddammit, man. Alright, 2 seconds. I'll be right back. Oh my god, that's fucking bullshit. Bullshit, man. I did it. Come on. There you go. It was now time to toughen up. No more Disney Channel flow on this playthrough. It was all a downward spiral from here. Hushwood was the first level I gave a whack. Or more like, the level whacked me. As is usually the case, I didn't seem to appreciate how severe the situation which I was in was. Without making money hand over fist, I quickly learned that acquiring magic, area damage and burst damage all at the same time wasn't an option. So I had to take a shortcut and use insta-kills to take out the big boys. Okay, I'll do it! I'm going to collect extra stars, but even this turned into an absolute scramble. I was pacing back and forth, trying to find one which wouldn't take longer than the actual level I was trying to do. So after digging around for a little while, I had enough to buy the essentials, and off I went to run circles around the enemies. If this offends you, you better close this vid right now. We're gonna do this a lot around here, especially when there's gonna be more Buddha looking homeboys than my 1 to 2 sorcerers can handle. Scaling back the confidence a wee bit, I deported my ass to Rodway, and this was much easier than I thought it would be. I didn't even have to bust out the almighty Tessie to blow this one out of the rat stew. Just winged it. I could pretty much speedrun it. I didn't really have any difficulty with it. The ruins were spelling me some trouble, however, but seeing as I identify as a Kingdom Rusher, I of course tightened my belt, clutched up, shifted gear and adapted. The introduction of the Walk Riders was something I was not prepared for, and god damn they ran straight through my Walmart budget looking ass frontline. What does a man do in times of such reckless hate? Collect some more stars, my favorite part. That's right, we're gonna work smarter, not harder here. Forgive me for being a bit disorganized, but I've not been this out of my depth since probably the No Towers Challenge in Vengeance. So anyway, we're doing this level now, and make no bones about it, there's gonna be nothing but Teslas and Sorcerers put into these tower slots. Tessie because it's the most bang for the buck when it comes to damage, and the fuck yeah Spreaded Tower, because it can kinda fill the rest of the gaps in the defense. You know, insta-kill, magic damage, true damage, and stalling. Even then, I have to say that this level was not the fun type. Wave 14 was absolutely demolishing me, every time, simply because KR1 is peak when it comes to wave compositions. Even if I rain of fire all the champions down below, they send 2 up top later with a breaker behind them to catch me off guard and steal my precious insta-kills. And don't even get me started on how annoying the troll TJs were. It was basically impossible to kill them ahead of time with this little dough on the table. So I had all these canoe ass trolls skating on down, acting like they could make themselves at home here. I really wanted to swing some dick on this, but I always ended up in the dirt near the end of this stage, and it wasn't getting anywhere. And it was at this point I had to admit to myself that I was only ever acting all gay and stuff to fit in with the rest of the community. I'm sorry Malik, but you were never the one to pick me up and carry me through these tribulations. It was Laura all along. Disgusted by my own actions, I calmed myself by immediately switching to Malik once business was taken care of, since I felt pretty confident that with my 2 lives leeway I could get the Plateau tied up in a knot. And after getting cucked by chieftains, chieftaining my rate of success, I learned to become my own chieftain and made a run for it with my 18 lives. It did tempt my elitist mentality, but like I already said, I was kinda scrambling, so I knew when to step on the gas, and then proceeded to have a serious case of chunkitis. I really thought I was out here turning ruins into rubble, but I was dealt a shitty hand when I found out that someone gave this ham and egg a global heal. Fucking impossible mode. He has a global hero still. Fuck me, man. Turns out this was some leftovers from the Impossible mod I had to go and purge. So I did just that, and I am kinda underselling it here, because it probably took longer to find than the stage took to beat. But we got it done. I now understand the true definition of Yetis are extremely durable winter beasts that can damage multiple opponents simultaneously. Hey guys, you remember when I said this? Are y'all laughing yet? I had to get my Ignis Micro A-game on to get through this bullshit with a tower and a half. But you know, nothing a young bug with some fast fingers couldn't handle. Never in my life would I have predicted that Bandit's Lair would be the level that nearly made me toss up my hands and say, I have no clue how to beat this. But here we are. I had to get on my Chaos Mode microgame for this one, since the number of towers I can bring into the dojo is very limited. Therefore, it was not feasible to burst down the pillagers with raw damage and simultaneously have enough magic damage to deal with raiders. We've already been over this. Insta-kills are the business, the bread, and the butter when a minimum wage motherfucker wants to tussle. 11 is now my new unlucky number. Look at this. Pillagers coming at the top with marauder support, so I have to stall them to make the pillagers take the insta-kill. All while they casually send a boatload of raiders down below, which I only have one sorcerer to deal with. Actually, I take it all back, because wave 12 is the same shit all over, just worse. Because now there's also matriarchs getting all up in my face. This was starting to go on my nerves. It got to the point where I had to close out this bitch and beat Ancient Necropolis while gathering myself.
Waste of my goddamn time! Get this out of here!
And then come straight back to it with a fresh perspective. This was calling for a total overhaul. 2 sorcerers down below, I need them. And a new tower came in handy here. You see, I did some self-reflection and I realized that I am simply never in a million years going to execute this right. And under these circumstances, Sniper Shot was straight up bussin'. It's cheap, and the extended shot gave me more wriggle room to course correct when state of affairs would become dire. It could even cap an escaping juggalo or two on the bottom lane. So finally, after nearly 18,000 seconds, I purged my screen of the brony. After having some fun with the biggest berthas on the swale, I was ready for another challenge. Well, I didn't know I was in for one, but necessity toughened me up once more. Truth be told, the level itself wasn't all that bad, because after spending years on this game, I had refined my technique. These 3 towers together in this formation is the ultimate choke point. And it didn't matter that it was all the towers I could afford. The enemies were just flocking in and choking on my point. The problem arises when the boss comes along and brings the entire population of fungal with him. I gave it 2 tries with Malik and I probably could do it, but I ain't playing this level 15 times just to figure out how. So I just used the Laura, but even with her, this wasn't all that easy. The creeper spawning from the toxic pool certainly didn't help, but I couldn't be bothered to find out how to shut it down, so I just rolled with it. That's the least I can do for having to use the Laura just to get through the final stretch, goddammit. I expected Blackburn's Alcazar to be a bit of a sting in my dick. We have 3 X's to defend here, and only half the gold. But the good thing is that so many tower spots will overlap with 2 lanes, so efficiency per tower went up. And when you add the cost-effective Barako tier 1s into the mix, hoo-wee, you know it's gonna get freaky. I even had lots of gold left over at the end to make sure Blackburn wasn't going to axe this session. Demon King? What the fuck? How is he the Demon King? He's Blackburn the racist, what the hell? I've been misled. I believe we've already been over this, but in case you don't know, I'm brushing my teeth to this level. Therefore, it wasn't a big problem. I only really need 4 towers to crush it anyways. Alright, time for me to assert my avant-garde opinion. Pandaemonium is not the hardest stage in the game. I said it, and I meant it. Don't believe me? Okay, I'm going to make it real hard for myself and use Hammer Shaker. No 18 or 19 lives either. We're making it 0 or 20. You already know I'm bringing the ham and beef like mama threw down on the lunch table back in the day. It is a scientific fact that the Tesla solves the most problems per minute, especially on this stage, so it was kind of a no-brainer to go for the use here. Legions were a bit of a nuisance this way, but this is where the champion practice came in handy. I was almost playing too well for my own good. I ended up stalling the Demon Lords on wave 10, thinking I was in the top 1% of deck swingers. But this play ended up backfiring, and it turns out all I really needed to do was just call the wave and rain of fire the whole lot. The double Tesla would take care of the rest, almost single-handedly, because that's all my broke ass can afford. It was refreshing, however, to see the final wave posing a challenge for once. It was indeed mating season for the Legionnaires that day, until I tightened it up and spent some of my lunch money on some more mages and sent Malik over there to help out. I don't know why he was jacking off on the other side of the map. Moloch ain't gonna do shit, you already know, he's done for it, folks. I was unsure how this one would fare under today's thought experiment, but so far it went pretty well. I was having fun using a varied defense. It was nice, until I made the biggest mistake I could have have ever made. Buying a tier 4 barrack. No, I still can't be bothered to change that. Fun is over, we're doing 3 Teslas, and then I'm just gonna clench my abdominal, hoping this will be enough for wave 13 and 14. And it was. Kinda anticlimactic for a final level, I must say. But I will give you this, I almost got a chronic panic attack when I eyeballed the Fungusi once more. But when he shows up in this level, you all know he's easy peasy lemon squeeze my nibbles. Okay, Lemao, who did this? Oh shit, wait, no. So, all in all, I cleaned my plate. This was fun. Silly bitch over here actually considered doing 40% gold at first. But then I thought half cash was a better title. And hoo-wee, I am glad I made that decision. This was hard. Thanks for watching and have an A1 day.
You know, any of those fucking new core, deathcore fucking canoes, they don't like this shit. It's too fucking rough. It's too raw. It's too tough for their fucking badge. That is Autopsy, Summer Survival.